All right, everyone. Happy Monday. Welcome to Crypto Live with Bitcoin Bravado. I'm the Bitcoin Broski here this morning with Kyle, BTC Jack Sparrow, and Bitcoin Birch. Gentlemen, how was the weekend?
Happy Monday.
Weekend was great. Happy Monday, everyone.
Went good.
Yes, yeah. Good. What'd you guys get into this weekend?
Lots of birthdays. I think I've done like 4, so I tried to have some fun.
Birthdays, like for little kids or for grown people?
Grown people, you know
Okay.
what you do when you have a birthday, right?
I don't have
What do you do when on your birthday, Birch?
I'm not a big birthday guy. I'm not a huge fan of getting older. It's like I'm one of those guys who just perpetually, on an almost daily basis, thinks about how I have like one day less and how I got to do more and all that. And so birthdays are just a reminder of that for me. So I also am generally very unthoughtful, and I don't remember anyone else's birthday without Facebook, and I don't use Facebook anymore. So without that, really, birthdays, do they even exist if no one's around to celebrate them? I'll be forever 29 years old. I'm 29 years old for the next 5 years at least. I think I can pull it off.
Yeah.
I think it's a great opportunity to meet some of the people you actually never see and talk to anymore, because everyone has parted their own ways due to becoming too old.
But you're a true European, unlike me. Just as a green card holder in the United States, you're actually true European, which means that you're thoughtful, you care about your friends, you want to go out and like spend time with people. I know you to be a gentleman and a scholar, so I wouldn't expect anything less from you.
Yeah. I'm 26 on dating apps, if that counts. I mean,
Last Monday was actually number 35.
I remember a story.
Yeah, you just turned 35, so happy belated to the boy Bitcoin Broski.
Old as hell over here.
All right, let's rock and roll.
So before we get things started, of course, guys, just a little disclaimer. None of us are financial advisors. None of what we are saying should be taken as financial advice. Hopefully you are here for entertainment purposes, maybe get some education on surface level here. But getting right into the news, there has been a lot going on. But first and foremost, we want to talk about something that was published by The Block. They mentioned that they'd done a survey, and 27% of traders, 24% of crypto investors had large losses in September. I like how they emphasize the word large. So yeah. I don't know. That's not necessarily the story for everyone, but what are you guys thinking about that news?
Yeah, so that was a really interesting story for me to read personally. We had heard about some of the larger funds not performing very well, Pantera and some others. I do wonder where. It says that it's basically a survey, right? It's a 16-question survey. It actually asks people about their income and like all kinds of stuff. It seems like they did a pretty good job trying to get accurate data. But I wonder if the focus was not enough on the retail, on the existing retail market, which is what we really care about. One thing that stood out to me was that the vast majority of the people that they were speaking to primarily held Bitcoin, EOS, and Ethereum, I think.
Yeah,
so
correct.
And as we saw across the larger caps in September, there was little to no movement. And it was quite choppy, right? And so it doesn't surprise me that people got chopped up. It's very hard to trade in the chop. And, for those of you, who do follow Bravado, we had a very successful September, I think somewhere north of 240% ROI. But the reason for that, outside of a couple of larger Bitcoin leverage trades, a part of that was leverage for starters, which the people that they're surveying, that probably wasn't taken into account, right? Leverage positions. So we did a little bit better. We did a lot better than losing 24%, but we were using leverage. But also we trade a lot smaller altcoins like Raven coin that the average person's never heard of. And the fact that the people that they were mentioning in the survey, primarily like vast majority was Bitcoin EOS holders. I don't know that it's a very accurate view on like, it kind of paints. It doesn't paint it as a good thing. It's like, people lost all this money in September. It's like, well, the people you surveyed did, but those people aren't traders necessarily. Those are funds and hodlers of large cap coins. And so that doesn't surprise me because September wasn't a very exciting month for people who aren't trading, right?
Yeah, there's definitely, go ahead, Ronnie.
it's difficult as well because people forget that most of these people are trading size, like real size. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about a million. I'm talking about 10, 50, 100 million, maybe even more, you know. And when you're trading bags that are so big, there is a whole different approach to it. You probably make a loss and you decide not to sell when Bitcoin drops 10%, because if you actually start selling, you would probably see a shitload of slippage on your position. That, you know, so you're waiting for the opportune moment when there's liquidity to actually get rid of your bags. And the other way around, if you want to buy bags, you kind of wait until people want to sell into your bids. So there's a whole different strategy. We're trading. I know, like we're not poor people, but we're definitely not trading that amount of size yet. Hopefully,
speak for yourself.
All right. But you know, I'm personally not trading 100 million, and I wouldn't know how to manage that because it's not something I have done before. So
especially, could you imagine in crypto too? And we'll get obviously to today's Bitcoin dump, and we'll talk plenty technicals with those of you just tuning in. So don't you worry about that. But in crypto, especially with the low liquidity, could you imagine trying to move millions or tens of millions of dollars without affecting the market? It's almost impossible unless you go all OTC. And as we've seen, not everyone has those same OTC contacts. There's people with $30 million in crypto who don't know anybody in the space. I mean, those people exist out there. So
yeah, I mean, I have bags of smaller caps that I didn't buy on exchanges because the liquidity is so shitty. So I started to look for people who wanted to sell me, and I said, just okay, I sent you money, and you send me your bags, and it's something you got to do, because otherwise you're waiting until maybe 6 months before you can get into a trade, and that trade already did like 1,000%.
Yeah.
Well, you know, go ahead, Kyle.
Well, and just to clarify, was that survey for people of a certain amount of money? Like, that's my question. Who was that survey talking to? Was it just any investor in crypto, or do they have to have a certain amount of money?
It doesn't really it doesn't say. You can only speculate. And really, I think, you know, like kind of like Joel was saying, you look at the main holders of, you know, Bitcoin, EOS, and Ethereum. What are the odds that they traded at all? I mean, this may just be people that held those bags through the entire month and then just reported their month to date decrease. And that's how it would appear. I mean, I don't think if they were to take a poll of retail investors, first of all, that they would have a bunch of retail investors who shitpost on crypto Twitter actually being honest about their losses. But I think that number would be much higher if they had included retail investors.
The vast majority of this market is retail, obviously, and the average retail investor is not trading. Even the average person who even follows people like us, they're not trading that often. They're still working their full-time jobs and living their regular life, and they're taking trades here and there. So one thing that stuck out that I was a little bit confused on, actually, I know we're spending a lot of time on this one thing, but they mentioned OKB is among the top 5 currencies for what people are interested in, like what their favorite currency for the next 6 months is, as an open-ended question. And it said Bitcoin was number 1, followed by OKB. Anyone know what the hell OKB is?
No idea.
Do I live under a rock? No one?
That's not even on CoinMarketCap, man. OKB.
That's what the article said. That's what the survey says, and that was a huge. So maybe I don't know. So take it with a grain of salt. If anyone out there in the chat knows what OKB is, let us know.
That was the ticker. OKB.
That's what it said. That's what it said in the. It was towards the end of the survey thing, so I didn't read too much into it. We just kind of read through the other details, but. Maybe OKB. If anyone knows, hit us up on Twitter. Let us know what OKB is. Maybe we're just noobs, so we don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe we missed it.
So one of the things I wanted to move into, because I know it's been the talk of Twitter for the past 24 hours, is a less than known exchange apparently exit scammed. And I say less than known because until this came out, I don't think any of us had ever heard of Maple Change. But apparently they exit scammed. So to talk about that, I mean, it's a Canadian cryptocurrency exchange, and they apparently suffered a bug that allowed hackers to withdraw funds from the exchange, and then they let everyone know that there were no more funds to be had, and they immediately shut down all social media and their website, just complete blackout. So
Okay.
Some would chalk it up to the game, but what do you guys think?
Also, so apparently OKB is OKX's exchange coin, according to a listener here. So I'll have to do some digging on that. So Maple Change at Maple Change X on Twitter, they tweeted October 28th at 11:25 a.m. Due to a bug, some people have managed to withdraw all the funds from our exchange. We're in the process of a thorough investigation for this. We're extremely sorry that has come to an end like this. Until this investigation is over, we cannot refund anything. It was approximately 913 Bitcoin, worth about $6 million. The exchange only has a couple thousand followers on Twitter, as you guys stated. No one's ever heard of them before. And apparently, according to some sources, even though their Twitter, I believe, is actually still up. Last I checked it. Yeah, it is. Their Twitter is still up. They deleted their website, their Discord, their Telegram, claiming that it was hackers. If you try to go to maplechange.com, it just goes to a GoDaddy parked page. So this has all the makings of an exit scam. Welcome to crypto. What are your thoughts?
I think it's not a very Canadian thing to do to begin with. I thought all Canadians are very, very, very friendly people. But no, my thoughts on this, the only thing I want to say about this is, like, careful out there when you have your money on an exchange that is not time tested, that is hard to verify who are the owners, and et cetera, et cetera. Get on the exchange, do your trades, and get your shit out of there.
Yeah. You've heard, so everyone listening here on the podcast live stream has heard before, you don't hold your money on exchanges. The problem is, though, especially if you haven't done some basic education on security for crypto, you hear that and then you don't know what to do instead, right? The average person listening right now is just like, well, what do I do? Like, all my money is on Binance. I don't even know how to set up a Bitcoin hard wallet. So do a little bit of research on setting up a hardware wallet, which you can buy one at Ledger. From Ledger, you can buy one. There's tons of different hardware wallets out there, or even a cold wallet. But Binance is also a little bit different. Some of those larger exchanges do have some policies in place from a hacking standpoint that doesn't protect you from being hacked, which we have to differentiate as well. Most people get hacked individually because they get phished. I mean, that's just what happens. They log into a fake site and they lose their money. Binance is not going to refund you if you get phished. Like, that's a personal responsibility thing if your security is flawed or what have you. But if Binance gets hacked, they have fail safes in place. They have contingencies. They have an insurance fund. Like, you're not going to likely lose a ton of your money, if any, if that happens. But Maple Change, $6 million total in their wallets. If you guys are using smaller exchanges, you move your money on, like, I don't even know why you would want to use that exchange, but if you have to, maybe they have a coin you want, you move your money on, you buy it, and then you move that coin into a cold wallet. Most crypto that you guys are buying out there are ERC20 tokens, right? And so that means that they can be stored in an Ethereum wallet or on a ledger. So buy your shit and move it off.
Yeah, and just like, we worked really hard, as a group, Bitcoin Bravado, to come out with Crypto 101 for all you guys. It's available to you for free, and we outlined to all of you, like, what our security procedures are, and we spent a long time on that. And one of my favorite comparisons for this market is this is a digital gold rush, and it's so profitable and such a great opportunity, but it's also profitable for criminals too. So you have to understand who you're operating with in this space and protect yourself accordingly. That's the key here, and that's what we tried to outline in Crypto 101. So you guys should all check that out, because it's what we all do, and it's how we try and keep ourselves safe as we're navigating this space.
It's a super scary space for sure. But again, you're mostly at risk if you're getting phished or something to that effect. Most of the larger exchanges have really good security protocols, but no one is not vulnerable except for the blockchain. And so you should actually use the blockchain. Real quick for the podcast listeners, I just shared a link in the YouTube chat and the Crowdcast chat for a website that actually allows you to search any cryptocurrency and see if it's an ERC20 token, because that's actually a point that people get kind of confused on before they transfer their crypto to their Ledger wallet or to a Mu wallet, like a MyEther wallet. They're not sure, like, if it's even an ERC20 token. And if you send a non-ERC20 token to Mu, the transaction hopefully doesn't go through, but you don't want to put yourself at risk. So the website, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but it's EIDOO.io. and they have an ERC20 token list, and you can see any token that's an ERC20 token can be stored on an Ethereum in an Ethereum wallet like myetherwallet.com. So protect yourself.
There you go. Well, I think that's pretty well covered it. So moving on, there also is some good exchange news. A company out of Belgium actually just purchased Bitstamp. So Bitstamp is a pretty large exchange. It was doing, I believe, the number 60 million in volume, and the all cash deal is reportedly for 350 million pesos. So we are talking about a large sum of money for this exchange. And the company that bought Bitstamp, their parent company, just recently completed the purchase of South Korea's largest exchange, Corbit. So they're stocking up, going on a little buying spree of these exchanges. What do you guys think?
You know, if someone's going to spend $350 million in cash, that's pretty bullish, I think, for cryptocurrency. Bitstamp raised in December 2016. They had a fundraising round. I think it was a Series A, where they were valued at 60 million. So that's a good return for investors. You know, in 2 years went from a 60 million valuation to 350 million. No surprise with the raise of crypto, but yeah, Pantera Capital actually owns some stake in Bitstamp, in Bitstamp, and so they will actually retain that stake, probably because they don't want to lose any more money this year. But it's really, really good news when you see really big money coming into exchanges, and it's similar to when Goldman Sachs, i.e. Circle, bought Poloniex. You know, we haven't seen the benefits of that yet, short term, but long term, this big money coming into this space is going to be better for the longevity of those exchanges, because those exchanges are run by a lot of times just developers and fans of cryptocurrency. Now they're going to be run by people who know how to run exchanges from a safety standpoint, a compliance standpoint, a regulation standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. And NXMH, the Belgium-based investment company that acquired Bitstamp, is a subsidiary of kind of what you alluded to, Whitney, a subsidiary of a South Korean media conglomerate. So it's like, I mean, once again, Asia is just making plays out here. They're going out and they're buying everything, and they are just pushing the ball forward in this space. It's kind of impressive to watch, honestly. You know, so. And
it's 350 million US dollars, by the way.
Yes, correct. Not Mexican pesos. Yes.
What I wonder is whether it's going to change much for Bitstamp in terms of how they are running their exchange, because me personally, Bitstamp was the one of the first exchanges I started to use. They're a European-based exchange. It's easy for me to send them money. They didn't charge anything, so it was probably the cheapest option for me to get my money from the bank into crypto, and they don't charge me any fees if I want to withdraw any euros. So I mean, they were my first choice and best choice. And back in the day, they were pretty big, but I must be honest that over the last year, I've seen them become smaller and smaller in terms of relative volume compared with other exchanges. They're still like in part of the index of BitMEX, but as their volume is decreasing, they're becoming less of a significant and trustworthy index. So I really hope that they're going to step up their game and maybe add some new tokens. That would be very interesting, because I would love trading on their exchange to get my money in and out, et cetera, et cetera. So if they would offer me something more than they have done over the year, I would be grateful.
No doubt.
Cool. All right. So
talk shop.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do it. Moving into it, we've had a little bit of a break with BTC. Finally broke out of the meme triangle, moving down, and the market's panicking. So what do you guys think? I know that I'll let you guys talk about how you guys have played this BTC downward move.
Yeah. So Go ahead, Kyle. I'll let you run through it.
All right, absolutely. I mean, it was a relatively low volume push. I mean, the price I think bottomed out right around 62.09, at least on BitMEX, based off BitMEX pricing. It did break out of the triangle down. I think at this point, what our general consensus was that based on the amount of sell volume that we saw early this morning, not overly concerned yet, especially with the way it's bounced back to this point. I think that a higher low structure could still be in play here. And one of the things that I've been noticing personally, and this is maybe not the best hypothesis, but it's something that I keep seeing every time we get into low 6Ks is everyone loves to talk about the meme BART trading pattern, which is like this just irrational down and up break that we see in charts consistently. And it only seems to show itself in the low 6Ks. And every time we've been in the low 6Ks and every time we've seen this type of trading pattern, it's ended up resulting in an accumulation and a spring back up. So I, for one, kind of like seeing this because it looks like a trading algo is in there accumulating by just chopping people up and getting things at the prices they're looking for. So right now, I'm liking what I'm seeing here as far as to long BTC and to buy a few more alts, increase my alt exposure at these prices. Anything below, I think Ronnie pointed out earlier, anything below 6150 gets a little sketchy for me. And then also, if you've been long on this market anytime the long and short ratio on Bitfinex has gotten to these levels, which is right around 0.68 longs to 1 short currently, it's been a profitable play as well. So I'm not too thrown off by this dip.
Yeah, and before Ronnie gets into the gem of charting that he does, it also, so it actually didn't break out of like any triangle. It was such a small move. It was like a 2% move down. It made sense to short, and I don't know. I can't remember if you guys talked about that on the episode that I missed on Friday. That we had a short hedge in at around 64, a little over 6,400. We had that in our Discord because we did have some exposure to alts, a couple of different alts, and it was definitely stacking up. But this 2% move down, though it's good for our short and it was a profitable trade for us, it didn't really, for me personally, invalidate any of the bullish sentiment that I've had over the last couple of weeks. It didn't invalidate any trading patterns, still holding outside of, I think I got stopped out of maybe one trade. I have to log in and check real quick, but I'm still in my altcoin trades, so it didn't really invalidate much. I think people are freaking out for little to no reason. It's exciting. We haven't seen Bitcoin move in a while, so I'll let Durrani, BTC Jack Sparrow, pull up some charts and talk through some of the technicals.
All right. So, yeah, what I want to point out to everyone is actually that this little dump hasn't really changed much. As Joel was saying, I like to look at the whole market as a whole and the altcoin market. And if we look at the altcoin market, we've been consistently breaking these downtrends here, and then we retested the downtrend every time. Which is showing at least exhaustion of the downtrend. You know, it's not necessarily saying that we're already seeing an uptrend, but we're at least making higher lows again and breaking these downtrends. So what we're seeing for the altcoin market cap is actually, it may actually be something very healthy. We're retracing to a breakout level right here. That's around like $93 billion for the altcoin market cap. I think that's a very healthy spot to actually retest. If we bounce there, it gives me more belief that the market is moving in a very healthy but slow way. And the same goes for the entire the entire market cap. For the people who can't see my screen, we're talking about like a retest of the perhaps maybe like 202 billion, 203 billion total market cap for all the different coins out there. So I'm personally, I think this is a very healthy retrace. And when we actually go to Bitcoin, I think what we're seeing, this is the chart I wanted to see. What we're seeing here is actually the same picture as we've seen in these coin market, the market cap charts. We're seeing a retrace of actually a bullish order block right here. And actually for Bitcoin, this is also the recent, like more local downtrend on the daily. What that means to me is that $6,200 is a key pivot to hold. We may dip under it, but what I want to see is a daily close above 6,200. If we close nicely above 6,200, I honestly think that we will retest the high of our range, at least 6,400 to start with, but probably 6,800 or beyond. If we break through these levels, it's becoming more and more complex because we've been trading in this range so much to actually analyze and show where we will end up. But let's have a look at some other charts. For example, IOST, it tries to break out, but it has retested its breakout level. So it's still, in my opinion, it's still bullish. If we look at Ambrosis, this was the breakout level at like 2,800 sats, and we broke down, but we're trying to close above it. So as long as we can keep, like if we look at XZC, where we broke out and we're not even like testing the breakout level. So I think a lot of these alts, same for Nano, this was a resistance at like 3,000 Satoshis. It tried to dip under it, but it got pushed back up. So as long as we can see that happen, like ICX, for example, it broke into its last point of support and it got pushed out of there back to nearly 10,000 Satoshis. So honestly, I think that as long as we can keep these levels, and we have
there's no, look at that. There's no volume there. That's one of the things is like we just saw Bitcoin move in the absolute tightest range I've personally ever seen Bitcoin move. I've been trading crypto since September 2015. It's just been such a tight range for 2.5 weeks, and it's been the lowest volatility of the year. So it wasn't hard to move Bitcoin in either direction. It looks like it may have been a little bit more profitable to move it down. Again, this doesn't invalidate anything, especially because there's absolutely no volume on that sell.
Yeah. And there's one more thing I want to show the people who are actually watching your live stream right now or who will watch it later on. An indicator I like a lot is called volume flow indicator. It's based off OIBV with some slight differences. And it's about to go bullish for the first time during our all-time high. When it dropped below zero here, it really signaled a longer period of time that we would actually have negative sell pressure. And now if we can break above zero here, I'm going to interpret that as a positive move when it comes to demand outrunning supply. So I mean, price action confirms the fact that we're back at zero here on the volume flow indicator. We've seen very little volatility, and this indicator agrees. But once we go above zero, I think there's a good chance that we're going to see a golden cross, which we kind of seen a few times before. But I think, so if we can hold these levels, I'm going to remain bullish. That's probably my takeaway.
Indicator is that again? It's not CMF, right? It's not the Chaikin money flow, but it looks like very similar, and it looks like it's using similar equations.
Yeah, it's called the volume flow indicator. It's made by Lazy Bear.
Cool.
It's an indicator you can find on TradingView. It's based off OBV on balance volume. Yeah, with some slightly some adjustments, and I honestly think it's more accurate than OBV. So I like it.
I love that. For those on the podcast, it basically broke into selling pressure in April, bottomed out at the end of July, and like BTC Jack Sparrow just said, we're back to zero. So just about. So that's pretty crazy. That's a good looking chart. That's a bullish chart.
Yeah, so BTC is doing its thing. We have our viewpoints on that. So how are you guys playing alts? I know Kyle alluded to it a little bit, but which trades are you in? How do you feel about them? What are you doing at these levels today?
Yeah, so I'm still holding my alt positions. My bullish theory is still intact here. What I'll look to do is dollar cost average. I think the alts I'm holding, I think Komodo probably got hit the worst, made down 6% today. I'll probably dollar cost average myself more into the positions that went down the most against USD. To clarify, Komodo is down 6% against USD. And then I'm looking to long Bitcoin today. I honestly like the bounce a lot. I think that it looks pretty sturdy. I'm going to wait. I do my leverage trading on BitMEX, and there will be a pretty substantial amount of funding going to shorts at around 3 p.m. Central Time. So I'll wait to long until after then. But then I'm also looking to probably pick up some Tron or Bitcoin Cash today. I think those are two that got hit pretty hard, and I'll look to play a quick swing on those.
Yeah, I think a couple of these bigger caps actually bled more than I thought they would do. So there might be a really, really beautiful opportunity on a few of them. There's one more chart that I actually want to show with you guys that I think is very important to keep a look at, and that's the USDT premium. So before we go on anything else, I just want to show you. I think I mentioned to a few people in Bravado that I expected some volatility once we drop below $100 difference between USD and USDT pairs on Bitcoin. So for people who are wondering how to get this chart on TradingView, it's like a math sum. You type in the ticker for BTC USD for any exchange you like, and then you do minus and then BTC USDT on another exchange, and then it will give you the current live difference in what the price in USDT is versus USD. As long as this, like, if it can come down, I think there's going to be a bit more trust in the market, because the USDT premium kind of makes it really hard to trade certain pairs because there is such a discrepancy between prices and no one really knows what the real price is. So if this can come down a little bit further, I think we'll see more investors that are comfortable trading again. So keep an eye on that.
Perfect.
So I know there was another project we wanted to discuss a little bit. Jack, you had mentioned this before the show, or maybe it was Kyle, but we wanted to talk about Key, K-E-Y. Did you want to bring up that chart, Jack?
For sure.
Well, there's two keys on CoinMarketCap. So there's Key, K-E-Y, and there's Self Key, which is also K-E-Y. You know, I don't know how they can both have the same ticker, but we're talking about Self Key.
The key is TKY and self key is KEY.
There's also just key
there's
with
also
KEY.
There's also a key, which is KEY. So there's two KEYs on CoinMarketCap. So this one is self key that we're talking about here today.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what happened last night is something interesting. Actually this morning, an article appeared that said that Self-Key joins efforts with Hit Korea. I'm not really sure what Hit Korea exactly is, but they're a security firm to improve user logins. And I think they're quite a big company. I think this is going to drive the Key's value and demand, because they're going to try and see if they can integrate Key in a lot more projects. But then the Apple CEO has urged people to download the Self-Key wallet to prevent data theft. Of course, this is something that did a lot to price. So if we get a look on the chart, what happened is that we saw some serious price action, like 20% out of nowhere. And it has retraced since to the breakout level. But if we take this entire move together, it was probably more like 40%. So it has retraced, but it broke out of resistance. Our resistance was at 118 Satoshis, and it broke out of there. So it has retraced 220 Satoshis. I think there's going to be a decent opportunity to buy it maybe a little bit lower. It might actually break this support level for a small moment and maybe, retrace to 108, 104, 110 Satoshis. But I think Self-Key really showed today that they're in a position to become a leader when it comes to data and identity security. But I think Kyle knows a lot more about Self-Key, so please go ahead.
About Self-Key, no, I'm not. I'm more familiar with TKY is the one.
Yeah, we covered TKY in the past. So
and I can jump into Key.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, Self-Key, I mean, when it comes to the project itself, they've got a very large team, and they have been incredibly active despite or notwithstanding any concern over what their token is doing or how it's performing. Behind the scenes, their dev team for the last 10 months has really been putting things in overdrive. Their partnerships are extensive. They got a long list of them. So it's good that Apple mentioned them, but Edmund Lowell, their CEO, is very well connected and has been on the warpath with regards to helping people see the importance of owning their own information and data. So their identity wallet is, I mean, in my opinion, it is the best that's available right now from a blockchain company. And they're starting to get a lot of notice from the bigger, Fortune 100 companies. And as things move towards this whole individual ownership of one's data, I think we will see a bigger and wider adoption of self-keys. So from an FA standpoint, especially at 118, 120 sats, this is a great value at this point, I think.
Sweet. I always like myself a fresh new alt, so I'll be doing my own research on Key and taking a look at that. I appreciate you guys putting that on my radar. Let's talk real quick about Pearl, Oyster Pearl, PRL, just because it was one that we've talked a lot about on the show in the last couple of weeks. So after a nice retracement, PRL, I'm not going to share my screen right now, but after a nice retracement, PRL started to move back up, actually came all the way back up to about 3,700 Satoshi. The previous high was right around 4,000 Satoshi. And then this morning, that fund was halted as it was across just about every single crypto with a quick sell-off, which has quickly bounced about 25% at about 2,500 sat. And it's climbing back up. PRL is one that, at least within our core team, we're still holding. We are happy to accumulate basically between 3K and 2K any chance that we get. And so that's just our move on that. And this is, again, one that we're looking to hold for the next, couple of months. Now, with that being said, I don't know about you guys. I kind of know about you guys, but with the, you guys know I've really enjoyed charting the altcoin market cap. And the target that I had for kind of like a get nervous scenario was $93 billion. I tweeted this on Friday. It was about $93 billion. This sell-off bottomed at $93.2 billion, and we're sitting right there. The big thing that stuck out to me, like we already talked about, was absolutely no volume. So I'm looking for a higher low here. I'm looking for a little bit of consolidation around this area and hopefully move back up. As it relates to Pearl and Zcoin and OMG and some of the other altcoins that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks, nothing has changed as it relates to those setups. And every trade setup you guys have should have a stop loss in place. So, you should not hold something for the next three. Like we don't know. We're not fortune tellers, right? So this is our analysis. This is what we think is going to happen. We're not nervous after today's Bloody Monday. This is just another red Monday in crypto. But there are levels to this. And if the altcoin market cap breaks below 93 billion, my new target is 88. If we really can't hold those areas, it's very, very suspect to be making any other trades or staying in losing positions. So don't be afraid to cut your losses. Pearl is not a coin I'm going to hold down to 500 sat if the market sells off. So I'm not going to be stupid about it. But I just want to reiterate that over the last 24 hours, my sentiment hasn't changed at all. But that doesn't mean that my mind can't be changed. I'm not a perma bull. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, it's for sure alt season. We're trying to prepare for both scenarios. Any help that you guys can provide out to our listeners on preparing for those scenarios?
Yeah, I think that's why, it is nice that we woke up and our short was in profit, right? I guess, but we took that position as a hedge too. So it is sometimes difficult, I think, to place stop losses in the most appropriate positions and figure out where you draw the line. But one way that you can really prepare yourself for a Bloody Monday like this is by using, and you don't have to use leverage, but by using some of your holdings, some of your portfolio to enter shorts, because that in fact does kind of limit your exposure. And then if you're worried, well, what if the market goes up and what if my short starts to lose money? It's like, well, like holding one position, like a short position on Bitcoin, it's a lot easier to manage that and stop yourself out than trying to stop yourself out on 10 or 15 different alt positions. Like we understand that. So that's why you have to use not only stop losses, but hedging procedures, like basically betting against yourself, because that's what a hedge is. It's betting against a position you already have open. And by using those two tactics, appropriate stop losses, macro total altcoin market cap analysis, and hedging procedures, then you can give yourself the best chance to be successful. And that's why we shorted on Thursday of last week, and that's why we're prepared to hold that short, or at least part of it, for even longer. So.
Now, when I shared that too, I had some guys say, "Okay, so you're shorting Bitcoin." Now, granted, I'm I'm by default long on Bitcoin. 65% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin, and it's not even online. So, I'm pretty much stuck holding that unless I want to start moving it around. However, with that said, some guy was like, well, if you're short hedging Bitcoin and you have these alt positions, what kind of hedge is that? If Bitcoin pumps, alts are going to dump, and then you're going to get stopped out of your short and you're going to lose money on alts. The bet that we were making was that wouldn't happen, right? So the hedge was, if Bitcoin pumps, alts will pump with it. And if Bitcoin does dump, alts will dump with it, because that's what's happened for the last 8 months, 9 months, really almost forever, with the exception of some of 2017 when there was an inverse correlation. But outside of that time, they've usually moved together. So we were just betting that was going to continue to happen. We were betting that they were going to continue to move together. And if they do, and Bitcoin dumps like we saw, dumps 2%, and altcoins take a hit and stop run a few people, at least you can make some money and hedge yourself that way. So yeah, if Bitcoin pumps and altcoins dump, that would be a shitty hedge, but that wasn't going to happen. That was never really something that we were looking at.
Right. Well, were there any other alts that you guys wanted to discuss today? Any other plays that you guys are looking to make?
I'm going to long Bitcoin Cash and Tron. Buy low leverage.
Low leverage.
All right.
I am going to Vegas. So for anyone who's not going to be, I'm not going to be taking any trades. But that's actually a nice idea here live right now. I like the idea of doing a quick end of the show. Hey, what's your next 48-hour quick call, quick take? And so I like Kyle's long on Bitcoin Cash. We've tried to long Bitcoin Cash unsuccessfully several times, so I hope this time it plays out. But I'm not going to be making any trades for the next 4 or 5 days. My positions are in. I'm loving my bag of Pearl and OMG and Zcoin and some others. My short on Bitcoin I'm taking profit on that, and then I have my lower leverage long on Bitcoin on my second account, and that doesn't get liquidated till 5,300. So if you guys see Bitcoin sub 5,300 while I'm in Vegas, just know I lost a ton of money, and I'm going to be having a great time through it. But if you are at World CryptoCon and you do come to Vegas, please make sure to come say hi. I'm going to be with Crypto Shilnai, Crypto Dog, and a bunch of other of the Twitter friends, and we're going to be on an influencer panel speaking and just trying to meet different people and talk shop. So for those of you who are coming out to Vegas, make sure to come and say what's up.
All right. Well, I think on that note, we'll wrap.
Still in storm as well. Still in storm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So, yeah, I think that'll do it for us today, guys. Good time to wrap it up here for this Monday morning. And until Wednesday, we will be back Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Birch will be enjoying Vegas, but we'll be here to hold down the fort and have some good conversation. And since he's not here, maybe we'll talk about some things while he's away that we wouldn't otherwise discuss. But we're going to have some fun, guys. It's going to be a great week, and we look forward to seeing you guys again on Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a great rest of your Monday.